Many people have asked me, how did I first come to know Peggy? Well, I don't recall the exact date, but I do remember where and how. As crazy as it may sound, I met Peggy first online, on Facebook, no less. That's right, Facebook. Thanks to the many mutual friends that we have across the PCUSA network, Peggy would often see my Facebook posts, and she would comment on my posts whether she agreed or disagreed with me. Now, I have no idea who this woman was, and Peggy would not hold anything back when she had something to say. She will speak her mind and get people's attention, whether you like it or not. Even though Peggy and I may have our shares of differences, growing up in different generations and under different circumstances and cultural upbringings, somehow our paths intersected by the providence of the divine. In spite of our differences, there are many things that we do have in common with one another. First and foremost, we both love Jesus. We both love the church, in particular, the Presbyterian Church. Although honestly, we both had our shares of growing pains and frustrations over the years, as we weave through the systems of bureaucracies and various forms of isms of the institutional church. Peggy had to overcome many challenges and struggles as a young woman sensing her call to the ministry of word and sacraments in a field that was traditionally and predominantly held by men. Many churches and presbyteries did not want to give Peggy a chance, not even a meeting or interview, even though Peggy was more than qualified than many of her male counterparts. But Peggy refused to take a no as an answer, and she was determined and feisty to prove everyone wrong. As Peggy shared with me many of her scuba diving stories, her underwater photography expeditions and weddings that she had performed, she was definitely not afraid to venture out into the deep and murky water and into the uncharted territory, literally and metaphorically, on various issues of our times today. As a mentor, Peggy often encouraged me that it is okay to be different from others. Both she and I would stand out whenever we go to the General Assembly. Peggy would often say to me, you are who you are, and there's nothing that others can say or do anything about it. It is okay to stand out from the crowd. It is okay to speak up when something is not right or it's bothering you. And as you know, Peggy will tell you when it's time for you to stand up and speak up, or when it's time for you to sit down and shut up. Peggy and I would also cross each other's paths at the General Assembly. We are both considered the GA junkies because we care about the missions of the church. At almost every GA that we attended together, we would make time to sneak out of the assembly and to spend some quality time catching up with each other over sushi. Peggy's proudest moment of me was when I was asked to speak before the General Assembly on my personal experience on racism here in America. I believe that was in 2016 in the Portland, Oregon Assembly. I remember Peggy went around snapping pictures of me off the giant screen TV and telling people that I was her Chinese son. And she was proud to be my white American mother. But in all seriousness, Peggy has been there through every step through my journey of discernment. She encouraged me and supported me as she reflected upon the struggles and challenges of her past. She would often lament, how far have we come? And there are still so much more we have to do. Last but not least, Peggy and I also share our mutual love of the Yankees. I recall my very first face-to-face meeting with her was at Yankee Stadium. As always, Peggy stood out from the crowd. She made her presence felt as she literally pushed her way through the crowd with her walker. And as she cheered and sang God Bless America and danced her way through the YMCA song and making herself onto the Jumbotron at Yankee Stadium. Her favorite Yankees heroes were Derek Jeter and Lou Gehrig, who was nicknamed the Iron Horse because of his perseverance and persistence while overcoming many of his own challenges, just like Peggy. Well, as Lou Gehrig shared on his final farewell speech on July 4th, 1939, today, I consider myself the luckiest man on the face of the earth. I may have had a tough break, but I have an awful lot to live for. Indeed, Peggy, you sure had an awful lot to live for as well. You have been a pioneer, a trailblazer, while paving the way for others to follow. You stood up when other people were telling you to sit down. You have encouraged so many, including me, to pursue their dreams in spite of the many setbacks, obstacles, and roadblocks that were put up against them. You were indeed a legendary iron horse of ministry, as you have exemplified throughout your life. No doubt we will continue to run this race that you have now completed. Thank you, Peggy, for simply being you. Well done, good and faithful servant. Come and share your master's happiness.